Hey everyone, this is Marie and I welcome you back to my channel for another process video. This week I was working on a layout about moving to Prague from North Carolina as an expat family, so for the next 2 to 3 years. So the first thing I want to talk to you about in my process is the choice of the background paper. I had two papers that I really loved. This one with all the lines, which was pale, airy. I really love the lines. That's what I like most about it. I also liked the little aqua or mint in the paper that was picking up on my daughter's clothing. But then there was this wood grain, which is super dark, and I loved how the photos, like the colors of the photos, were coming alive on that dark paper. Which one would you have gone with? So I asked a lot of fellow scrapbooker in the Scrap Gals Facebook group I'm part of, and I also asked my daughter, and the pale paper won. I decided to go with it because I couldn't go wrong even with that one. I decided that if I put some dark colors all around the pictures, I could come to the same result as with the darker paper. So at some point, you have to make choices and roll with it. So that's what I did. Next, I had to figure out the photo placement. That's what I'm doing here. And then I went through my stash of paper and embellishments, and that's a fun part for me. I go shopping through my stash, and even though my stash is pretty old, I didn't buy much stuff for scrapbooking in the past 3 years. It was super fun to discover all that I have. This here is a lesson learned. These are rub-ons that I love. They are from American Crafts, and I didn't use them because I loved them so much, And look what happened. I totally lost them. So all the rub-ons transferred on the backing paper that was there to protect them in a way. But, after so many moves, I think I bought these in Switzerland. So they moved to Connecticut, to North Carolina, and then to Prague, to Paris, and back to Cleveland. So forget it. I was about to toss this when I figured that the backing or the cardstock protecting the letters was super cool. Look at those letters, and it's a nice dark black. So I just ripped these and decided I would keep them, and I even incorporated them in this layout that I was working on. So no more putting away. I could have put that black cardstock away, but no, I'm going to use it now or never, right? And then I found these rub-ons. They are from another company, Toga. That's a French company. So I decided to try it. Before I toss all my rub-ons out, I decided to try it. And surprise, it worked. And I was so happy. So I'm going to go with them on my layout. Then I found some paper that would be great to mat behind my photo. I decided that this pink would bring out the colors of my picture, the letters, and bring together all my photos. That pink is pretty dark, so I was happy with it. And that's when I started using those rub-on letters. I used them as a subtitle to the title Prague, and I will write first impressions with it. I started from the last letter, working my way backwards, and I decided to write the two words on a piece of paper just to make sure I wouldn't make a mistake. Right, so after that, I wanted to mat my other photos. This little one, I found that a glitter cardstock in golden tones was great. It was bringing out also like the glitters on my title letters. And for this big photo in the middle, I used that black cardstock that came from the packaging of the rub-ons. And I really liked the tear-off effect of the top and bottom. So I used my scoreboard and I tore it off. When I was done with my mats, I decided to bring on some die cuts and to write some words on it. So here I wrote new everything. I did it with my typewriter. The way to do it is to glue or to stick your die cut to a piece of paper and run it through your typewriter. If you don't have a typewriter, you could do the same technique using your printer. When I was done with these two labels, I decided to not lose any scrap paper, especially that gold glitter paper that I love. So I ran it through my punch and make myself some homemade hearts. There's a bigger scrap there. I almost used it for hearts, but then I decided this could be a nice frame for a bigger picture, so I just held on to it. My next step is to find more embellishments and elements to add that will all fit together and add to the photos and not take anything away from it. So here, call me crazy, but I'm I'm going to use this piece as a mat, and I'm still using the inside to make more hearts, more golden hearts. And then I use every picture as a little layout, so to say. So here, this little picture, how can I make it stand out without using another frame? I'm going to attach a little glitter heart with a tiny attacher. And this way, in the end, everything goes together. I found those little hearts in the package of the letters that I used for the title, so they match perfectly. And now I'm using a roller date stamp to add the date on that label here. The next step is to take everything away. I will fix this photo in place, and this will help me because after I want to stitch the ribbons in place, and so that I know where they go, I need my main picture in place. So when I stitch on paper, I just push my page through the sewing machine, holding the ribbon under the foot, and I kind of twist it and push it so that it gives a wavy texture. After that, I decided to stitch a little frame around that house picture. And I don't always do that, but this time I decided not to cut the thread, and I just left it like that to give even extra texture and interest. So then I rearranged all my elements on the page, and I kind of glued the elements, some with foam tape like this to give dimension, and some just with double-sided tape. And the mix of things that are elevated and others that are laying flat is what gives interest to the page. You'll see that after that I took my hot glue gun out, and this is another way for me to add even more dimension. Then I was not so happy with that small picture that is white there. This is showing the dial of my washer or dryer, and it's written in Czech. So what I wanted to say about that is that, you know, even doing your laundry is complicated when you move to another country. So I decided to reprint it in a bigger size, and while I was at it, I decided to print one more picture of me and the girls in the taxi when we arrived from the airport. Our suitcases were not all fitting in the taxi, so we had to do a little bit of gymnastic there. So here you see me adhering the embellishments with my hot glue gun. When I'm gluing something to ribbon, I really like to use the hot glue. I find that using tape doesn't really work with ribbon as a background. So here I found a small suitcase, wood veneer suitcase, and I like that it goes well with the wood veneer frame that I added to that tiny picture. And as I was saying earlier, the glue really gives some dimension, some really good dimension, and I really like that. With the hot glue you can also be sure that nothing will move, and in a couple of years from now everything will still be in place. So now you see a close-up of everything happening on my page, the dimension, the elements, the stamping. I also pay attention to colors, like group some colors together and then add a little reminder somewhere a little bit further on the page, like the red, the blue. Now I'm going to add some black and gold word stickers with my tiny attacher. So that's another way to add interest and, you know, other texture, the metal. And then it will be time to write my journaling. So as I usually do when I have a lot to say, I start with a lead pencil. I write everything and then I go over it with ink. And sometimes I change my inked version, but at least when I write it once with lead pencil, I have like a better idea of what I want to say. And my layout is done. You can see that I added some little enamel shapes, dots and stars, playing with the colors. That arrow there, the red one, was vellum. You can see that I added here the address of our house on a very, very small label, sticker label. I added a plain wood veneer, so I have a triangle of wood veneers. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I would love to read you and read your thinking and, you know, your impressions and maybe what you've learned. I'll have a blog post linked in the comments so you can read the journaling maybe. And if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe and maybe share it with a friend who would enjoy it too. Thanks guys! Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.